Chicago Bears GM Ryan Poles' very first draft class had one heck of a debut. So let's talk about how good they looked in their first action, even though it was preseason. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, hit the big red subscribe button down below, people. Make sure you are following me on my social media platforms. And guys, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. All right, so as I mentioned, I get it. It was preseason, one game. But I can't help but not talk about how good the draft class, the very first draft class that Ryan Poles had, looked, okay? So we'll go through all his draft class and talk about how they looked in their very first game action. And I get it, it was preseason, but, I want to talk about this because I think it's important. And the jury's obviously still out. We got to see them in actual real game action. But we'll get to that. All right, so let's start off right off the bat here. Two of his top members of his draft class did not actually play in that first preseason game. I'm talking about Kyler Gordon and Velus Jones Jr. So we actually haven't even seen them. I expect to see them in the next preseason game. But other than that, let's talk about the guys that actually did play. Jaquan Brisker. I mentioned he was an absolute a wrecker out there. Like, this dude was just causing havoc. He was having big hit after big hit, had a tackle for a loss, almost had an interception. Like, you could just see he's a baller. Like, he could play. Like, I saw Jaquan Brisker out there and I'm like, take him out. I've seen enough. Like, he looks to be an absolute stud. Obviously, he was taken in the second round by this regime. And so you could just see a star in the making in Jaquan Brisker. I get it. One preseason game, but the talent just pops off the page, just jumps through the screen with Jaquan Brisker. Okay, so that's the first thing. Let's move on now to Braxton Jones. Braxton Jones, I'm waiting for him to have a bad performance here because he literally has lit the world on fire as a fifth round rookie, okay, out of Southern Utah. Like, this kid has no fear within his game. He just goes up against the guys he needs to and just dominates, all right? And now, he didn't dominate in this game, but he held his own and didn't allow a sack. And when they run behind him, he's been pretty solid as well. So Braxton Jones, for a fifth-round rookie, shouldn't be this good. He has no business being this good. And he looks, again, everyone looks the part here because we're still in preseason, but he looks like a stud here. And he's already going to be our starter at the left tackle spot, which is a very important spot on the line, all right? So that's two of the top four guys. So remember, we took Gordon and Brisker in the first round. Gordon didn't play. I talked about Brisker. Then we took Velus Jones Jr. in the third round. He didn't play. Then we took Braxton in the fifth round. Just talked about him. And then another fifth round pick, Dominique Robinson. He had a sack in this game, folks. You could see the talent, again, pop off the page. The raw athleticism. Like, he looks like he's raw, but he can develop into something special. And so I feel like he's got the tools here to turn into something nice as well. After that, you had round 6 pick Zach Thomas, who, again, probably wasn't that great. But then you can move on to Tristan Ebner here, round 6, pick 203. He had a TD, nice little wheel route. I mean, he's the best pass-catching running back on this roster already. Like, he looks better at pass-catching than Monty and Herbert. And I don't think that's an overstatement. He really is. So Tristan Ebner in round 6, he's a guy who could make, again, it's early, he can make David Montgomery expendable in the sense of we might not need to bring him back because we could put in Herbert in the main role and then have Ebner as the pass-catching back on third downs. And we could see him as early as this year in those third down pass-catching roles, all right? Doug Kramer, he had a bit of a rough debut. That's probably the one guy we took in round 6 that I thought was a little shaky. But Ja'Tyre Carter in round 7, I thought he played pretty well. For a round 7 pick, yeah, I thought he was solid. And then Elijah Hicks gave up a touchdown, but was still solid overall in the game. And then Trenton Gill, the punter, we took in the 7th round. Like, he had some good punts out there. He pinned the Chiefs inside their own 15 more than a couple of times. All right, so he looks to be pretty good. And then we had some undrafted rookies that this regime brought in. Jack Sanborn, I think he's a lock to make the roster, folks. I wouldn't say a lock, but he looks to be very, very good. And he's a guy who, athleticism isn't there that you would like in that position, but you can see the instincts are crazy. So he looks to be good. So we're talking about literally 80% of this draft class looks like they can play. Again, first preseason game, I get it. But you saw the signs of talent. You saw the signs of potential. And that's all I'm trying to say here. They just had one heck of a debut here. And I'm excited as heck to see Velus Jones Jr. and Kyler Gordon. So I can't wait to see the rest of these guys, man. But yeah, this new regime's first draft class looks to be solid. We'll see how it turns out when the games actually count, actually matter. But I'm very encouraged by what I saw out there. Let me know what you guys saw with this draft class. Agree, disagree, leave a comment down below as always. Thanks.